Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to another week of helping people get through life's most difficult challenges. I'm your host, Brian Perez, and this is New Life Live. If you're grieving the loss of someone with whom you weren't able to make things right, or maybe you're having trouble forgiving a friend or family member, we can help. Perhaps you've tried to forget that girl, but it's just so hard to do. That thing to do is to call us at 1-800-229-3000. And today we've got licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown, who's also the president of New Life Ministries. She is joining us. Marc Cameron will be here shortly. Becky, you know what I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
How was your weekend?
Let me beat you to the punch. Oh, my weekend was great. You know why? Because I spent it with about 50 couples at our Intimacy in Marriage Intensive. And the couples ranged, we had couples that were in their 80s all the way down to their 20s and every place in between. We had a meeting this morning where we were just kind of going over some of the ways that we just saw God at work in these couples. And, first of all, let's just talk about the fact that you've got couples in their 80s saying, you know what? We need to invest in our relationship. We need to go and do the work. We want it to be worth having a legacy of intentionality for our marriage. We also had couples that were, they were new to New Life. Like they didn't even know what they were getting into. They thought maybe it was going to be, something just warm and cuddly or whatever, but oh no, we make you work. And the things that they were saying, most of the time we have people that will say things like, I never thought that anything would help. And look now I have a different way of thinking. I have a different way of approaching the challenges that we have had. One of the things that we teach is attachment styles. We teach people that your histories are colliding. You don't realize that the thing that you're arguing about has roots all the way back to when you were a child, before you even knew who your spouse was going to be. Because the way we connect with people is implanted years before in our, with our parents showing us how to love. And, just a side note, if you're parenting right now, don't feel guilty, but you are making an impact on the spouse that your child will pick someday. The great thing is there's so much hope. You can learn to heal. You can address the things that are keeping you apart from your spouse, and you can have a marriage that is truly connected. We know that healing occurs in relationship as well. And so that primary relationship of marriage is so important and impactful, not only on your day-to-day life. I mean, if you're married and you had an argument with your spouse this morning, you know that the rest of your day is going to be a little bit off. If you are in a season of conflict in your marriage where maybe you guys have just been off, like there's the thing, whether it's betrayal or maybe you're having to overcome a physical ailment or crisis in your marriage that you didn't even know. It doesn't even have to be somebody's at fault. It's really about life be life, and we've got to have the tools in order to connect and have a marriage that reflects God's blessings and impacts our family and our community. We're going to do it again in October. October 17th, we're going to be in Dallas, Texas. If you're married and you're listening to me right now and you haven't done anything to invest in your marriage, doesn't matter what place you're in your marriage, if you're in a crisis or you just need to invest in it, come and join the team. The New Life team will be in Dallas, Texas, October 17th. We'll see you there.
Yep. Get all the details on newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to get registered. Tools and resources is all that we're about here at New Life, and we're going to get to the calls when we come back.
What a New Life course is it's around a topic led by a professional licensed counselor coach,
with a small group of 8 or 9 people on a weekly Zoom call. You're going to go through the information, but also connect as a group. Those group processes make all the difference in the world. And so we have created New Life courses so that you can experience that on a weekly basis. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful. And it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us. So you can sign up right away with 8 or 9 slots open. They're going to go quick. And so you want to call today and get registered.
Begin your transformation in September with a New Life course. Lose it for life, take your life back, or healing is a choice. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Speaking of tools and resources, we've got a video library with over 600 teaching videos by our radio team and network therapists. You can check it out at newlife.com under the Listen tab and learn something today. Never stop growing. 1-800-229-3000 is the number. Licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron's here. So is licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown, who's also the president of New Life Ministries. And let's go to the phones, starting with Donna in Elma, Iowa, listening on NRB, or watching, I should say, on NRB TV. That's DirecTV channel 378. Welcome.
Hi.
Hi, Donna.
Hi.
How can we help you today?
I am divorced.
Okay.
And it's been over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And my ex-husband lives in the basement.
Hmm.
And
How long, Donna? How long has he lived there?
7 years going on 8.
Okay.
And I did it so that it would be easier for the kids and the grandkids.
Hmm. Really quick, Donna, I don't mean to interrupt, but we're hearing some background noise, so I don't know what that is exactly, but if you could lower it or turn it down, turn it off, whatever, only because it's we want to hear your question as clearly as possible.
I turned it way down.
Okay, thank you so much. So go ahead and continue.
Well, that's why. Because we were apart. We lived in separate places for a long time. But my daughter is a lot like him. And they're selfish. And she wouldn't let me see my grandkids.
Hmm.
She would let him, and then he would tell my granddaughter what a rotten person I was.
Hmm.
But my granddaughter told me she didn't believe it when I did get to see her.
What are the ages of the grandkids? Roughly.
20, 26, 15 are my daughters.
Okay.
And then I have my son. He's got a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old
Okay.
granddaughter.
Mark, what would you say to Donna?
Wow, Donna, how hurtful. Do you know why your daughter is keeping you from your grandkids?
No, not now, because they're grown.
Oh, okay, so she did for many years, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
Donna?
Yeah.
You called about how can we help you the best? Like, what's your big question for us?
I have forgiven my daughter, my husband, but I can't forget.
Hmm.
Well, and we
And
hear
I
the
pray
pain.
for him. But I don't like the way he treats my son, because he treats him terrible, and my son bends over backwards for him. But
Donna,
my son, yeah,
when you divorced 20 years ago, what was the reason for the divorce? I understand why you had him come back in, but why did you divorce?
well, the one night, well, the reason I have that at my son is he raped me while we were married. I didn't want any more kids. And, but when I got pregnant the night he raped me, he said, well, just get an abortion. And I said, I didn't want any more, but I said, I won't kill him. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I said, I won't kill my child. And my daughter blames me because she wanted an abortion. And I said, no, I will not sign a death warrant. And I forget where I'm at sometimes because I've had strokes.
But Donna, you're not in a safe place either. If he's in the house and this is your history, and we understand that you did it because you wanted to be with your grandkids or have them all together, but it doesn't sound like it's working too well.
He's in the basement. He stays in the basement unless he just comes to the top of the steps and tells me things. But I told him the last time, I said, I am not taking sides because he does not like my son's girlfriend. They're not married. And I said, I'm not taking sides. And I just walked away, and he stays downstairs. I mean, we don't. Only time I talk to him is when I have to tell him something, which is very seldom. Okay. And I wear one of these buttons around my neck. All I have to do is push it, and I got instant help coming. So I'm not scared of him. Mark. I just feel so bad for my son.
Yeah, I don't know if it's about being scared, Donna. I think you're desensitized. I mean, you have your perpetrator living in the basement, and I understand that you're mainly separate from him, but I think that is preventing your healing. Now, like Becky said, I get it that you wanted to, have the best situation for your kids and your grandkids, but actually the best situation for kids and grandkids is two healthy parents or two healthy grandparents. And when there's abuse that happens between two people, the best thing to do is to have a separation so that each of you can be healthy and heal. That's better than two parents or two grandparents living together in a toxic environment. At least one has at least one or maybe two healthy environments for kids to go to. The alternative is there's not a healthy environment for them to go to. And so I appreciate that you have forgiven them, but there's two different parts of forgiveness. There's decisional forgiveness and then there's emotional forgiveness. So decisional forgiveness happens in our mind when we make that commitment that I don't want to hold on to this hurt and this bitterness. But then there's also being able to feel it in your heart and feeling in your body. And I think being in close proximity with him is probably hindering some of that process. I mean, I would encourage you to get in with a therapist and discuss this whole dynamic with that person to see, what's the healthiest thing for you both.
Yeah. Donna, just the fact that this has dysregulated you so much, the tears, the fear of, what the conversations will be with the family, this kind of pitting one another against each other is not healthy for anybody. I'm wondering, do you have anybody else in your life, whether it's sisters or good friends, who you connect with on a regular basis?
Yeah.
And what do they say about this?
Well, my friend has the same problem with her ex. Well, she's still married, but he treats her terrible, and she has a son that's old enough to be out on his own, but he's still there, and he is just very disrespectful. It's
heartbreaking because when we get to be older, we shouldn't be stuck in these patterns, but we do get stuck in the patterns. And we want to move you towards healthy. So if you and your friend both are in this similar situation, it could be that you both need to get, into some help, like Marc said. What would it mean to you, Donna, if everything was better in your family?
Hello?
Did you hear Becky's question, Donna?
My phone
Oh,
cut
okay.
out for just...
That's okay. So if everything was better, Donna, what would that look like for you and your family?
Just a minute. Just a minute.
Well, okay. So here's the challenge that even the pressure of trying to come up with what would be better occurs when you've been under duress for so long. What was an idea 7 years ago, hey, let's have him move in so that we can have some family connection, because they were not coming to see you, they were just going to see him, has now become like a trap. And we get accustomed. It's like the frog in the boiling water analogy that you all have heard 15 million times. When it starts out, it's not that bad, but then eventually it's boiling, and it really is threatening to your very existence. And so then we lose sight of what if it were better? What would it look like if it were better? And so, Donna, I don't know if you can hear me or if you can reply, but that's what I really want to know. What does better look like for you and your family?
Well, the thing is, I have forgiven him.
Right.
And I told him that he could live here.
Let us put you in touch with a therapist here, Donna, because I'm hearing with your friend, while she might be able to share in the experience with you, she's stuck in the same scenario. So it's going to be hard for you guys to support one another with direction. So let's put you in touch with a therapist here. I think a really good book for Donna would be Take Your Life Back.
Yes.
I agree. And maybe even Donna can participate in the Take Your Life Back course. And what I hear, Donna, is I hear that you're having to get out of the house so that you can finish the call. And this is just highlighting the pressure that you're under, that you've accustomed to not having a safe environment. And here's the thing, you're not the only one. Your friend is going through the same thing. For anyone who's hearing this, pay attention to the places that you have grown accustomed to that are unhealthy, that are not safe, and make a step towards safety. And sometimes it can be a call to 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and having one of our ministry representatives talk with you about what some options are. But don't wait another day, and we'll get you connected, Donna, and we'll give you the book like Marc had suggested.
Yes, it's called Take Your Life Back, and that's also the name of the online course that begins in September. You can find out more about that at newlife.com. If you feel trapped by past pain, toxic relationships, or patterns that won't break, Take Your Life Back is a 12-week online course that will help you break free from what's been holding you down: codependency, guilt, regret, unhealthy boundaries, or emotional wounds. You'll rediscover who you are in Christ. It is time to reclaim your future. You can stop the cycle and take your life back. Donna, we appreciate your phone call today. Thank you for calling in. We'll send you that book, and we suggest that you sign up for the online course. How common... Oh, go ahead, Becky.
Well, I just want to say one thing, because, and Marc, I'm sure you were going to jump on this if she'd have been able to stay, but, just because you forgive is not a reason to reconcile. Just because you forgive doesn't mean that you're not going to still have work and healing to do. I don't know if you picked that up, Marc, but Yeah,
and actually sometimes the best decision is to not reconcile, because if somebody's not willing to take accountability for their actions, it's and we don't allow that to happen, then we prevent their growth and we prevent our own growth. So it's painful, but allowing someone to take accountability is the opportunity for the path for growth for them.
All right, we're going to take more phone calls in just a moment here on New Life Live, and we're taking your calls for 2 hours today. That's how long we're going to be in the studio answering the phones. We would love to hear from you. We've got some great calls and questions on the board already, but we want more. We want more. Lionel, Lisa, Jennifer, everyone else, call in to 1-800-229-3000. We've got licensed professional clinical counselor Becky Brown and licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron here. We would love to talk to you about what it is that you're going through at 1-800-229-3000.
I went to Every Man's Battle in 2012. My sexual integrity was not what it should have been. I sought out affairs, whether physical or emotional. Until I came to Every Man's Battle, I didn't understand that would never fill that void.
Every day, men struggle with sexual integrity. Impure thoughts, strip clubs, affairs, pornography.
The shame and guilt was overwhelming.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
You will discover what the true root of your pain is, and you will discover how to overcome.
You don't have to struggle any longer. Get help in Cincinnati, Ohio, August 22nd through the 24th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Enter the code NLL for a discount.
Every Man's Battle saved my life.
1-800-NEWLIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We've got so much going on at newlife.com, including an online life recovery conference. It's coming up in just a couple of months, Saturday, October 4th, to be more exact. President of New Life, Becky Brown, this is going to be a jam-packed day, isn't it? And you're one of the speakers. Who can benefit from this conference, Becky, and what are they going to learn?
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. The conference is called Choosing Wisdom. And that's what we're called to do, is to choose wisdom. But sometimes we get confused about what is the wise choice. So you're going to hear speakers talk everything from our own internal struggle to dealing with family members who might be struggling with addiction, to understanding why we do what we do and addressing the wounds that we have. The great thing about the Choosing Wisdom online life recovery conference is that it is online. So you can join from wherever you are. It's a great value. You can have a group join with you. You know, if you've got a life recovery group that you're part of, everybody can join together. But we believe that recovery is for everyone. It is a path and a process to healing and purpose and uncovering those things that are driving you to whether it's a behavior or using a substance. We want you to live a life that is free and full and connected, and you're going to learn all about that during the Choosing Wisdom conference. I hope to see you there.
And you can get more details about it at liferecoverygroups.com. Again, it's October 4th, so you got plenty of time to make plans to be there with us. Lisa in Frisco, Texas, listening on KWRD. You're next on New Life Live. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Thanks. Well, God bless y'all. It sounds like you have a really beautiful ministry, and I've heard you on the radio before. But I'm sure it's hard also, but I guess God gifted you with what you need to be able to minister to other people in their pain and stuff.
Mm.
But what I was calling about is my sister goes to church with this couple, Anna and RJ, and their daughters were the two little girls that were died in the flood, and they found them holding hands, and like RJ's parents died also, and they're like having a real hard time, and I'm sure anybody would, but I just wondered if you could pray for them on air so that others can join in prayer. And maybe you could send me the book, and I'll give it to my sister, and she can give it to them of anything that might be helpful when you go through such a catastrophic loss, you know.
Yeah, well, Lisa, we appreciate you reaching out. You know, it also impacts us as you experience their loss. It will probably impact the losses that you've already experienced in life. Do you have children? I mean, is that where you're identifying with this loss?
No, but like my sister's young son, like in his early 20s, committed suicide, so I know how hard it is for parents.
Yes.
Like, and my other sister lost a baby that, like, you know, when you're carrying them and you lose them, like, right after they're born.
Mm.
So,
That's right. Well,
it's like
that's
I
where
know
it's
how
touching.
hard it's been for both of them.
And it's hard for all of us as we've heard the stories, we've seen the reports from that unimaginable tragedy. And we will, I'm sure our audience has been praying, and we will continue to ask for prayer. And the reason why I asked you about that, though, Lisa, is because grief is something that we will all experience. But yet our experience is individual. Like we go through it in different ways. And we actually created a course so that we could help people, whether they have experienced recent loss or they are struggling with this ongoing loss. But we're so grateful that you called, and we're going to send you a copy of the Life Recovery Workbook on grief that you can hand along to them. But
what was that, Lisa?
I said, sorry, you went out for a second, like that other lady.
Oh, go ahead. No, I think we were just saying that we're going to send you the Life Recovery Workbook for grief for calling in today.
Okay.
Mark, what did you want to add?
No, I was going to say it's fantastic that you are calling and bringing awareness and asking for prayers for them, Lisa. And whenever we go through big loss like this, you know, while it is painful and sometimes people do ask for privacy, ultimately we need community to heal. And so, if that's the case with them, when they're ready, being there for support for them and raising awareness for them, I think is just a fantastic thing. So I appreciate you as a friend doing that.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about people wanting privacy during grief, something like this, I mean, it was all over the news. People knew about this. It was this destructive flooding in Texas. It's sudden. It was something that happened. There was very little warning, or at least not as much warning as some people thought should have been given. And this campground where all these kids had been gathered as a summer camp type thing. And so many lives lost, young children and counselors. And I mean, it was just devastating, and they're still feeling the effects there in the community. But it's times like this when the community rallies together and helps each other out, and the church can help as well, and through prayers, through financial support. And if you could please keep Lisa, I think she said the names were Anna and RJ. So if you could keep that family in your prayers. They lost their kids. RJ lost his parents. I mean, it's a felt need. It's something that's going on in their life, and we definitely need to come together as the body of Christ to pray for everyone who's been affected by this. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today here on New Life Live. We've got more calls coming up. Thank you so much for listening and for watching today. We'll come back here on New Life Live.
I was stuck.
I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery accounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We love it when listeners share how New Life helps them. We've heard from a couple so far. Here's what Valerie told us. I've been able to confidently recommend New Life to many people, knowing how biblically sound New Life is. You have been my own private counselor many times. I'm so thankful for this ministry. Your support allows us to continue providing that biblically sound help through all we do to help people like Valerie right where they're at. You can give online at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE or text NLM to 28950. And here is Jennifer calling in from Fort Worth, Texas, listening on KWRD. Welcome, Jennifer, to New Life Live.
Hi. Thank you guys so much for taking my call. I wrote down pretty much what I want to ask you, if that's okay, because there's just a little bit of background.
Okay.
Is that fine?
Sure.
First and foremost, I want you guys in the viewers to pray for wisdom, because I know God gives it freely. But I've been with my husband, who's an agnostic, for 29 years. His family's from the Midwest and predominantly non-believers. His brother is 19-year-old, committed suicide a few weeks ago, and we're going to his visitation next week. And I'm just trying to figure out, how do I love and comfort them all? I want to mention to them how Jesus can give you peace through any valleys, without appearing to be insecure, but without being insincere, preachy, or inappropriate,
right.
And options for different temperaments, etc. And just as a back note, I'm from a more communicative family and culture when it comes to emotions, and there have been times when I have tried to explain why I feel a certain way about the bigger family issues that were going on, and it ended badly. My husband basically was telling me not to talk like that to his family, and it was just really bad. Even though they were the ones that I was just being honest and pretty level-headed and just saying, this is a boundary, and I don't want you to pass it. You need to stop there, especially in front of my kids when they're yelling at me. Anyway.
Now, Jennifer, quick question. Are you speaking at this funeral, and were you close to the nephew?
That's the weird thing. His brother is not telling my husband or even his mom or anyone exactly what's supposed to happen. They call it a visitation, but not a formal funeral or anything.
Okay.
Not a memorial service. And so my husband just said, I think we're just going to be there as a family, and people are going to, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So you just want words to say
why.
to the family. You don't want to come across in a wrong way to people who are
Right.
grieving. Yeah, we got that. What do you think?
And there's some people are really closed off to any kind of support like that. They just don't want to talk about emotions. That's just how they deal with issues. And so I feel called, and I've been praying since it happened, for God to give me wisdom and to know when to speak, when not to speak, and what to say. I'm even afraid to be upset there, because if I'm crying, then they will assume that I'm just making a big deal and causing a scene and being inappropriate.
Yeah.
And so I'm already trying to grieve as much as I can before I go, so that I don't know. It's a weird situation.
Yeah.
But I almost got to see my nephew every Christmas, and he was a year older than my youngest son, and then he had a brother that was a year younger than my youngest son.
Okay. So what would you guys suggest to Jennifer?
Yeah, well, Jennifer, I love that you want to comfort them and that you want to bring a message of hope for the family. When, this is a very shocking situation. He could, it happened unexpectedly, and, committing suicide, such a young age. And now, they're going through grief, right? Just as you're going through grief. Oftentimes, the first stage of grief is that shock, is that disbelief. Sometimes we call it denial, but it's because, not because we're mentally denying it, but because, the bodily reaction feels kind of cold and shut off, and that's the shock. And so when somebody's in shock, it's kind of hard to get through to them on a logical level. So I think the best way that you can show up, and I understand that, you're concerned with you showing your grief and you showing your sadness, that may push them away, but that's actually appropriate modeling. It's appropriate modeling for you to show what, sadness looks like, because that's how you connect with someone, because eventually grief is so overwhelming, they're going to have these sad feelings. And if they see you as safe to be sad with, that's when they're likely to reach out to you. I know you want to give this message of hope and tell them about Jesus, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but the gospel is also a message of relationship as well as it is about redemption. So building a relationship with somebody and modeling for them, how Jesus was is just as important, I think, as telling someone about the gospel.
Becky?
I love your heart, Jennifer. And what happens so many times in these situations, first of all, when we're talking about suicide, no matter what the family relationship was like before, this is a desperate grief. When someone decides, especially a young person who's been very integrated into the family, you were talking about your sons are older and younger, and this is cousin, and it is a shock to the system. We're not meant to take our own lives. And those that are left behind, it is a different kind of grieving that comes. But then when you put it with the background, you were the in-law that all of a sudden became the outlaw when you were trying to reach to them to let them know how healthy relationships can have boundaries, and they can have disagreements, but still be connected. But it sounds like that family system, including the fact that your husband has kind of put a boundary, like, don't mess with the family. And Mark, you could probably speak to this from an attachment standpoint. This is how they learned. And I would make even a guess that what attracted you to what your husband was attracted to in you is that real person that you are, that you're open, that you're able to express yourself, and you come from a place of love. So in this time, like Mark said, just let the tears flow. When you are approaching the family, you're not going to try and fix everything. Just be present, hold space for them, be honest about what you're feeling, as much as, but just it really isn't a time to settle the score or to straighten things out, but to be genuine. And that's what I hear in your heart. We are grieving with you. We don't even know this young man, but anytime someone takes their life, we know of the desperation. And, there could be this shockwave even to the family. How did we not see this? This is common in suicide recovery for the family members is, and you'll even have people who will ask dumb questions. And people do ask dumb questions at funerals, visitations. They'll say things like, well, couldn't you have prevented that? Well, of course, if you could have, you would have. But it's those kind of things that you can be present with the family, hold hands along the journey. And then what I would suggest is after the fact, you can begin to connect with them. Not everybody at once, but, maybe somebody that you're more close to.
Would you say, Marc, I'll ask you, Jennifer called in to ask, hey, what are things I can say at the service, but it's also important to recognize things we should not say at a service?
Yeah, I think Becky hit on some of those things there. I mean, they're still trying to make sense of it in this moment. But I agree with Becky. I think presence is the best way to show up for someone in this situation, and then communicating messages of empathy. I'm so sorry this happened. This must be so hurtful for you. Please let me know how I can show up for you. I'm here. Here's my phone number. Call me anytime. Would it be okay if I call you in a week to check in on you? Those kinds of things, even practical things, when people go through grief, sometimes their brain just shuts off. They can't make dinner. Or they forget to eat. So just doing some of those practical things, that's the relationship building side. And then when they progress through different stages of grief and they're trying to make sense of what happened, that's where maybe the message of the gospel can really speak to them.
Yeah. Becky, resource from the newlife.com store?
Well, I would suggest the Life Recovery Grief Workbook. Like we've said before, there's practical steps, but there's also insight into the stages of grief. Steve used to say, we know in clinical work, we talk about Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's 5 stages of grief. He said there's like 11 because we know that grief isn't it's not finite, it's infinite. There's so many ways that people experience it. So.
Yep. We'll be back here on New Life Live, and we're waiting for your call too.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
When you get a chance, check out the Get Help tab at newlife.com for all the details on our 3 new New Life online courses that start in September, as well as the August 28th From Chaos to Calm Anxiety webinar. Again, that's at newlife.com under the Get Help tab. We can't wait to speak to everybody that's on the phone right now and everyone else who calls in. We're going to remain in the studio for another hour. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. And we're going to go to Lionel, who is in Philadelphia, listening on WFIL. Thanks for calling in today, Lionel.
Yes, hi guys.
Hi, how can we help you?
Okay, so I went through a really rough breakup last year. I'm 27. I just got my RN a few weeks ago. So
Congratulations.
that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
But I had a really good friend of 6 years, and we dated for just 3 months last year. We thought we were a match made in heaven. We had committed to be engaged to each other, and we thought we would get married. And she went to visit her mom, who lives in Korea, for 2 months, and her mom's not a Christian. And when she told her mom about us, her mom threatened to commit suicide if she wouldn't break up with me.
Oh, my.
And she broke up with me in August. 1 week from today will be the day she broke up with me. So it was a year ago. We went back to being friends. I was really the only one reaching out to her. She would respond to me, but she would never start a conversation until November. And then she confessed to me that she was still struggling a lot with guilt and bitterness over things that happened surrounding the time we were dating and the breakup. And she said she didn't want to deal with that anymore, so she needs to cut me out of her life and go no contact. So that was a whole nother thing to grieve, because I just lost a 6-year friendship in November.
Yeah.
So it's been 7 months, and just a week ago, she liked 2 of my social media posts, which was the first interaction between us since November, and it's just brought up all these confusing emotions all over again.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of healing and grieving since. I've read Love Must Be Tough, Healing is a Choice, How We Love, Save People. And I've applied a lot of those lessons and practices to my relationships. A lot of my life relationships since the breakup have improved immensely, and my own self-awareness and emotional maturity and self-regulation has improved a lot. But I feel I've just been, so I got out of therapy this morning, and my therapist really suggested that I reach out to her, but the terms of the no contact was that she would be the first one to reach out.
Okay. What would you guys suggest to Lionel?
Well,
Becky?
can I just say, Lionel, you get Listener of the Year Century Award for you being 27 years old and have read all of those books and have done the work. That's astonishing, Lionel. And I'm not saying that lightly. I mean it. You're doing the work, and it can still be painful. What you're describing, it's so confusing. You've done the work, and then you get these likes on social media, and it triggers that old wound. But I love the clarity that you just said. The rule was she would reach out first. Well, in today's culture, liking a post is, I would say, synonymous with making the first move.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying you call and take her out to dinner and all that kind of stuff, because she's got this threat from her mother. That's a whole different subject.
Yeah.
But I do think it would be okay for you to say something maybe in Messenger or something that's very low key, not a text maybe, that just says, hey, I noticed that you like those posts and it was good to have a response from you. I mean, it could be something as neutral as that.
Yeah.
But let's see what Marc has to say about it.
I'm just curious a little bit here, Lionel. What was the reason that her mom threatened to commit suicide unless she broke up with you?
Yeah, I think It's so complicated. Her mom's not a Christian. Her and I both are. And she's single and divorced, and my ex is her only daughter, and my ex told me that her mom is scared of losing her to me, of being alone in her old age.
Even though she lives in a different country.
Yes.
Wow, yeah. So that
is she expecting her daughter to come live with her as she gets older?
That's what my ex suspects.
Yeah, so there's heavy levels of codependency here that are extremely unhealthy, that, your ex needs to do a lot of work to be able to break free from that grip of her mother. I mean, I agree with Becky here with, reaching out in that way. Keep your expectations levels, in check with reality, because it could just be that she feels like she's healed enough that she wants to remain friends with you, but no more. So I think you explore that with her. I mean, you may even say, let her know that you still have strong feelings for her, but you want to see where she's at. But what might be important, I think, for your healing is if she is in the same place. For your healing, you may have to make a decision of, this is really confusing for me. I don't know if I can go another 6 months and then have another post and then I'm hooked all the way back in again. You may have to make a decision for yourself that you detach from her and you have a no contact with her. And I know that's really hard. And I know that, like you said, I can't remember the exact wording you used at the beginning, but you believe you guys were this match and you were meant to be for one another. And sometimes our feelings are so powerful, it can change our reasoning. We can, it's called emotional reasoning, where we believe the chemistry and the connection is so strong. That's just, there's nothing that I felt like this before. It has to be from God. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's just us really, really wanting something, and it can come from a place of insecurity. So if it keeps hooking you back and it's preventing you from moving on, and she's not doing her work, you may have to learn how to healthily detach, and that may be no contact on your side, because ultimately if you are to get with her and she continues to have this codependency with her mom, it would just exacerbate future problems in a relationship.
Well, and can I say one more thing about that? Here's the other thing. You go forward. Let's say you make a connection with her and you guys get back together. Guess what? She still has that mother, and there's still this threat. So you can go all the way forward where, let's imagine that you guys get married. Now your mother-in-law is this threat. So, and I'm not saying you don't go forward. I'm just saying these are things that you can work with, even with your therapist. But the bigger thing, Lionel, is you're going to have grief for what you had hoped. You had made all this progress this last year, and this, just like you just said, Mark, I love, just those hooks. And it's not because you're not doing enough work. It's our feelings are powerful, but they're not always good direction givers. And you might want to pass along changes that heal to her. But it's part of that journey. But I'm glad you've got a good therapist. And, we'll look to hear from you again, Lionel, in the future.
And I don't know if we carry this book. I don't think we do anymore. But How to Get a Date Worth Keeping. I didn't hear you say that you read that book. That would be a really good book for you to get.
Yeah, that one's not available that I know of. But Becky, what resource can we send to Lionel?
I would say maybe even give them the Emotional Freedom Workbook.
Okay,
it'll
sounds
give them
good.
Some more to work on.
Lionel, thanks for calling in today and telling us about this girl that you tried to forget no matter what you did, but then she sends you a text or something from out of the blue and you're wondering, how do I continue with this? If you're in a similar situation, give us a call. We can talk about that and more. 1-800-229-3000.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.